Hey, welcome back. When I started my shop, I used to refer to it as the Craigslist shop because almost every single thing in it was used, including the cabinets, the countertops, workbenches, and of course the tools. And I couldn't afford to do it any other way. And so by buying used tools, I was able to get better quality, and by reselling my used tools, I was able to usually collect the same amount that I originally paid for it. So I learned a lot along the way. So these are my 5 tips for getting the best quality tools at the lowest possible price. So number one is look for mistakes. So oftentimes people have no idea what they're selling. So these are all examples from my local area in the past week. So the price keeps dropping on this hammer drill because one, Bosch is spelled incorrectly, and two, the tool is not even in the first picture. So even if I'm just scrolling through, I'm not going to be able to actually see what it is. This is the second picture. That would be better as the first picture. So in this next ad, again, this is the very first picture that you see, and it's listed as a scroll saw, but when the next picture, it clearly says that it's a bench bandsaw. So we have the tool marked incorrectly, and again, not the best pictures. Luckily, they do have full disclosure in the description. They say they inherited, and they don't know anything about it. So you could get this sweet little saw for $20. The price keeps dropping on this little Dremel because it is first of all just listed as a tool, and then in the description it's listed as a Drexel and a jigsaw. So we don't see scroll saw and we don't see the brand spelled correctly. This saw keeps dropping in price basically just because they do not have the word saw anywhere in the title or the description. Again, the first picture doesn't even show what this tool is, and it is simply listed as a saw with no description at all. So this jointer is clearly not a Powermatic or a helical head, so this isn't going to get before the eyes of the people who would be looking for this type of jointer. So this also applies for building materials. This is a nice little sink, but it's listed as a sing and there's no description. In order to find this sweet lumber, you might have to be brave enough to type this into your search bar. All right, last example. So this is just listed under tools and it shows 3 different saws. And then in the description, it simply says saw tools. I don't know if it's $20 for all 3, $20 each. I have no idea, but nonetheless, you're probably going to be able to get some decent tools for a pretty inexpensive price. These are other examples that I have come across. One of the best ads I found a few years ago was for a table saw that was listed as a wood cutter thingy. So I kind of figure some dude really screwed up and he's coming home to an empty garage. Be patient. I have made the mistake several times of thinking I'll never find a deal like this again and jumping before I thoroughly did my research. So look often, research your tools before you buy them, and then be patient and wait for the right one to come across. Number 3 is be resourceful. For example, I bought my SawStop used and I got it for $1,400. To get this set up new with the mobile base and everything would have been about $2,500. But after I used it for a little bit, I quickly realized why they were trying to get rid of it. It just kept powering off whenever I tried to cut thicker stock. So I was frustrated and I thought, oh my gosh, I probably need a new motor, which still would have been cheaper than buying the new SawStop. But I asked some questions at my local lumber yard to their fix-it guy, and he suggested that I start by replacing the reset switch. So I did this, and the part cost all of $3.50, and it took approximately 5 minutes to install. All I had to do was remove a couple of screws there, and it was the easiest install. And now I can cut through thick Purple Heart lumber with no problems. Another reason that people or places will be selling tools really inexpensive is if they don't have batteries to go with it. So this was at a pawn shop and they didn't have a battery to prove that it worked. So it just said, make me an offer. So I offered them $10. They took it. I had the batteries at home. It works perfect. I use it all the time. So worst case scenario, I would have been out $10, but best case scenario happened and I got a nice convenient little saw for $10. Another nice way to get a steal is sometimes people are selling tools because they don't have the little safety switch. So again, they can't prove that it works. So this rigid sander I got for $75 and I just showed up with my own safety switch from a rigid planer that I had. So I was able to get a good deal, but they didn't have any way to assure that it worked unless I brought my own part. This Ryobi bandsaw I also got for $50, and I just showed up with the key switch out of the little drill press that I had also picked up for $50. And again, they were selling this inexpensive because they couldn't prove that it worked. I was able to resell both of these, the drill press and the bandsaw, for actually more than I bought them for when it was time to upgrade to nicer tools. This brings me to my next tip, resell well. Take the time to actually clear off the equipment, Clean the sawdust off, make it look decent, take a couple good pictures, copy and paste the actual specs of the tool from a website if you can find it. Just a few extra minutes of effort is more money in your pocket, and then you can buy more tools. Okay, so this one's probably more of a reminder for myself, but don't buy it unless you need it. Our needs continue to change and evolve as woodworkers. I started by making primarily cornhole boards, so at that time, what I needed was very different than what I need now. So buying a tool like the Craig Foreman made total sense when I was doing, hundreds of pocket hole screws a week. Right now, that rarely gets used, but something like a domino, which I never thought I'd need, is working its way up on my wish list. So buy something when you are ready for it, when you actually need it. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment with the best deal that you've ever found. And remember, this doesn't just apply to your shop tools, but it can also be dust collectors and all your other equipment. So I hope that you have an awesome time finding some amazing deals out there.